The nerves that you have looked at so far are large ones. As they extend out into the body, nerves branch into smaller and smaller divisions. Look here in the connective tissue between the muscle fibres of the tongue for nerve bundles of various sizes. Even the tiny branches retain their basic structure, in particular their perineural sheath of flattened Schwann cells. Some will only have several axons. And if you look hard enough, you can see this very small parasympathetic ganglion. It is really only a few parasympathetic second neuron cell bodies. It will be regulating the activity of some of the extensive glands in the tongue. Here is a more obvious parasympathetic ganglion. Near serous glands, or glands of von Ebner, these glands empty secretions into trenches to then wash the taste buds. Their activity is regulated by axons from these groups of parasympathetic second neuron cell bodies within this parasympathetic ganglion. If I asked you, how did I know that this was not a sympathetic ganglion? Your answer should be that the neuron cell bodies are clearly located within an organ or tissue, in this case the tongue. A network of specialized autonomic ganglia called enteric ganglia innervates the smooth muscle of the gut wall. These ganglia are more complex than the sympathetic or parasympathetic ganglia because they also contain sensory neurons, interneurons, and astroglia-like cells. These enable the intestines to generate peristaltic waves independently from stimuli from the central nervous system. Recognize these two external muscle layers of the colon wall. The myenteric ganglia are scattered along the junction between the longitudinal and circular muscle layers. They appear as balls of cells, each with a few large neuron cell bodies showing. Each ganglion cell body has a large pale nucleus and a prominent nucleolus and is surrounded by small satellite cells, which account for most of the cell nuclei of the ganglia. The ganglia communicate with one another by a network of non-myelinated axons which are difficult to observe with hematoxylin and eosin staining. This integrates the individual ganglia into a plexus called the myenteric or Auerbach's plexus. The plexus can be likened to a fishnet, with the knots being the individual ganglia and the strings being the bands of axons running from one ganglion to another. The gastrointestinal tract also has a submucosal or Meissner's plexus to innervate the muscularis mucosa.